Hello, guys. Welcome to another yapping session. Today, I have compiled a lot of ideas which I came up with for the game. Some may not be great, some may be good, some probably unreasonable to ever come out. But I just made it for fun, anyways. I don't know. It's up to your preference if you like him or not. I don't think Kuzak or anyone else will care to see these realized, anyways. This won't be just like major updates and features, it will also include small balance changes and bug fixes as well. That's why the count of these ideas is so high. Normally this would be really hard to come up with any. Alright, without further ado, let's begin with the first idea. First idea is the featured page return with a discounted items showcase. When you open the shop, you first encounter the page with, well, Robux products you could buy. Instead of this, it will return that page which existed when Fallen Revamp originally came out. That page included Flood Shard and whatever else items they added at the time on there. I want to see this return, and it's actually advertised like a random shop item from any of these inside the like there. This one, for example, take an emote like this one, or a skin like, I don't know, this one, for example, and put it on like 20% discount or something, so you can buy it a little cheaper than usual. This idea is basic. It's just like quality of life change. Alright. Feature number 2. Also related to the shop. Convert the coin to gem ratio for items to be 3:1. 3 is for coins, and 1 is for gems. What do I mean by this, you may ask? Well, sometimes you'll get items that are like coming in variants, like this example. Every single one of these costs 600, either coins or gems. What this means is that gems are harder to get, but the price for a color variant is identical. Instead of costing, like, this one costs 600 coins and this one costs 600 gems. Let's take that as an example. This one costs 600 still, this one would cost 200 gems instead. That's the basic idea behind this. Though the only item that I would leave unaffected would be the gem trophy. Self-explanatory as to why, because the item was made to be expensive and rare in the first place. So might as well let it stay that way. This would apply mostly to items that are sold in color variants, like auras, for example. You often have, like, see Flowing Light, for example. It has like multiple color variants, intergalactics, magnetic fields, etc., etc. Auras always like the newer ones, especially, they come in variants like this. Sun Power, there's like 5 different colors you can choose from. Half of them cost the same amount of gems as coins. Which frankly I never understood why. Anyway, I won't dwell on this too long. Let's move on to the next change. Flood colors Game Pass data save and make it accessible outside the menu. Basically, to find the menu, you need to click on the gear icon, click flood colors, and then select what you want colors to be, like whether it be red, green, or I don't know, blue. Type of texture you want, I guess. I don't know. To be honest, I have no real clue what these mean. Then you just gotta press this button. You can press this one if you want the entire server's flood colors to be synced. And if you just want to use your own presets like this, for example, you can just click enabled and then hopping around and you'll see what you selected. My idea is to have this option moved outside of this menu because, let's be real, everyone who owns this Game Pass literally forgets that it's here in the first place, including me. Like, put it somewhere in the corner, like, you can't see my cursor, but I'm pointing at, like, about right down in the corner somewhere. I don't know, something like that. Or better yet, just add an option on a wall, for example, like this one. Like the sliders thingies, where you could just select what you want. I don't know. That's all I think I need with this thing to change. Granted, it probably won't ever happen. Anyways, moving on. Next point. I'm sorry, I'm a little, I don't know how to say this, sick, I guess? I just got a runny nose. That's kinda it. Alright, fourth idea. Removal of the currency cap. As you can see right now, I am at 100,000 of each currency. Sure, it looks like I have one beyond it, but let's be real, there's only two ways to do this. The first way is, if you start with under 100k, you play rounds. After you die, whatever amount of currency you get goes beyond the cap. It all goes to you. But if you're above the cap and then die in a round, you get nothing, basically. Another way to go beyond the cap is being gifted coins or gems, which is how I got 300 gems over the cap, because some person yesterday gifted a lot of gems. That's basically what happened. I want this removed for two reasons. First of all, it serves no purpose. And second of all, it would be hella cool to actually get enough currency to buy all of the shop items at once. It'd be hella cool to do that. It would be really, really cool to do that. I don't know. Why not let me keep earning gems? I would make use of them, boosting or like map voting or whatnot anyways. I would just gatekeep because I really can't be bothered to spend them, considering how hard it is to earn them. Anyways, moving on to the next idea. Reiterate the win rate percentage to reflect actual survival ratio instead of last 100 maps. As you know in your stats menu, you've got this survival ratio thingy. And a lot of people are confused why it's not accurate whatsoever. It's because Crazy Vlogs decided to be this way. And frankly, I don't think that should be this way either, because I don't have 90% win rate overall. It's kind of obvious that I don't. 45% of Crazy Vlogs. Not possible. It's like 30 at best. regardless, I don't want this number to be actually realistic, so I could actually tell immediately without having to do extra math how good my win rate on these difficulties really is. It's just a thing that little people care about, to be honest. I might be nitpicking at this point, but who cares? Alright. Let's go to the secret room. For no reason. Anyway, on to the next idea. Blood Pass. Every third item is free instead of every fifth item. You know how on the Flood Pass you get a free item at tier 5. Everything else is premium. Basically just make every third item be free. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, etc. would be free items. This would allow free-to-play players to get a little bit more items in comparison, and it would actually make them feel a little more rewarded for grinding the game. Granted that, sure, Flood Pass would probably lose a little bit of sales, considering it wants to be making money. But then again, you can just come up with something else to sell, like a Game Pass or something. I don't know. It isn't that bad. You have options to choose from. There will be later suggestions anyway, so let's just move on. More misc badges, like beating a certain amount of maps in specific difficulties or doing something difficult in the game. Some badges for endgame players. Basically, what I mean by this is, where is that page? Yeah, there it is. I want more badges like this one or this one, or hell, even this, but skill based, not grind, mindlessly based type of thing. Like, these badges go in the right direction by being unique to obtain, but they're way too easy to get, which is the problem. Because they kind of run out of use really quickly. Last Page Collector and Mirror Madness badges are probably the hardest ones to get. But yeah. I just want to see more badges like that in the game. I think it would be cool for the game to have. Next idea. Tutorial map for new players to teach game mechanics. I still think that practice mode, when it comes out, is gonna be far from enough when it comes to improving the player skill level. Because brand new players still need to understand the mechanics before they hop into the game. Or at least partially understand them. First, give them like a tutorial level where they have to use every mechanic, and then test them on a couple maps from the actual game, preferably easy difficulty, which have at least one of these mechanics being used. So that's kind of what this idea really is. There's nothing much else to add. Revamp the lift. What I mean by this is just like improve its visual. Like improve its visuals. Because as it looks right now, it's like you got one small window here of the map picture and a dark moving lift atmosphere. I mean, it's kind of boring to be honest. Like, add a skybox or something here so it's not black as fuck. Or dark. I don't mean to sound like racist by saying this, but like, please. I don't know. It just doesn't look appealing to me whatsoever. The old lift when you used to be able to see like outside the lobby like this, pretend I'm inside the lift. You'd be able to see people here, you would be able to see the leaderboard which used to be here. And you were able to like climb up here somewhere, like on the lift itself, which was kind of fun. Yeah, that's what I kind of mean. Just give it a visual upgrade, basically. That's kind of what it is. Yeah, I'm not gonna be specific as to what exactly, but up to imagination, I guess. Next, idea number 10. Replace rebirthing with a normal leveling system, which goes up infinitely by getting harder with each level up. This might hurt people, but I personally think that rebirths are a lost concept of time at this point. In 2018, when they first released, Crazy Blocks kind of followed the trend by adding them. Because a lot of games at popular at the time, like Mining Simulator in, I don't know, B-Storm Simulator or other stuff, games were featuring a rebirth option. Granted, most modern games today still have the same rebirth concept in most of them. But that's novelty just wore off. Personally, I would like the FE2 to have a leveling system more similar to Arsenal. Because it would let you level up infinitely for as much as you want. And your level would just keep going up, up, and up. And it wouldn't just look like, what does this Rebirth 30 thingy mean even? What does it mean? Like, I don't know. I think seeing a level of 1000 would be more appealing than seeing Rebirth 30 to me. It's just preference, I suppose. Alright, I'm gonna blow my nose real quick, so give me a sec. Alright, we're back. Man, this hay fever sucks. Also, the heat really hurts. It's 28 degrees Celsius outside. It's only 11 a.m. This is crazy. Anyway, idea number 11. Map event cooldown increase if map events were doubled for a round. Once a map loads in, basically you have the option to map event it once or twice. So basically just there's like a 1 round cooldown when you are map eventing. So instead, when one map event gets done, the cooldown is 2 rounds, and if doubled map events are done, then 3 rounds until the next map event is available. Because personally, when I play in pro servers, especially servers where they spam crazy plus maps, they often enjoy spamming the map event button a lot. And frankly, it kind of pisses me off because some map event combinations are just terrible. I don't come up with any solutions for this, but yeah, basically that's the whole point. Just make them a little bit rarer, so I know at the next update they'll be removing the map event specific challenges from the daily challenges segment, so you'll be able to basically do any map event. So it will no longer matter, most likely. Hopefully. Anyways, next idea. Option in settings menu to display FPS, or a command prompt button where you can select commands without needing to enter them in chat. As most of you know, I can't chat, so I thought, why not add a feature where you can just, or a button up here next to the chat, for example, to just manually click and your command is activated, like in FE2CM with its DevTools thingy, you know, same concept. I think that would be a great change to have, considering there's like 4 useful commands you can do, and private server commands you can use as well. So yeah, this would be really useful. Alright, next change idea. Add a connection to FE2CM within the game. Currently there's nothing connecting the two games, even though they are the same game basically. Oh, except for this poster, I guess. But nobody's gonna find the game just because of this poster, you know. In socials, you have the game mode select button. Oh, it does have teleport to FE2CM solo. Oh, okay. I didn't check this before making this. I guess I fucked up a little. My bad. Well, anyways, still, I think the games should be, like, more interactive with each other. Like, you should be able to do some kind of data transfer within the two games where, like, community highlight maps, for example, they could be, what'll be another suggestion, but I'll briefly mention it now since I fucked up this take. I think that maps in FE2CM should be highlighted in FE2CM as well, not just the main game. Like, not just here, but in FE2CM as well, with the IDs to practice them, in my opinion. That would be helpful without having to go look through map forums for the map IDs, etc., etc. Especially if you're banned from the Crazy Blocks game server, and it's even more apparent as to why this is necessary. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, the next idea was to add daily/weekly highlights for maps, so it would be necessary to look for maps on third-party sites like Discord, YouTube, or Wikipedia pages. This is like an additional thingy with what I just mentioned. Except for it being just the main game highlights, it would highlight actual maps within FE2CM itself that were either recently made or like community favorites or something. So you could immediately just collect the map, select the ID, copy it, and paste it in, and play the maps. Instead of having to go looking for maps on Discord, YouTube, or wiki pages. Hardly anyone goes to look for maps on the wiki pages. On YouTube, maybe. Those who don't use Discord, I guess. But most people will be civil and just go to the Discord server and choose maps there, because they have map forums they can use. Except another problem. Same one as before. If you're banned, you cannot use it. Hence why I'm asking for this change in the first place. Alright, next. Remove FE2 CM badges from main games list. The reason why is pretty simple. Because why are these badges even here? You can't earn them in this game. Why are they here? These ones are not even obtainable anymore, so like, you might as well just replace them with something. I don't know. This really will piss people off who genuinely wanted the 100% all the badges in this. If they can't, like, get these badges, then it's just annoying to have them here in the first place. Right. Next. Increase multiplayer XP gain to be on similar level as solo XP gain. Plus 10% bonus XP for each survivor in a map. Is the idea. You know, the reason why I came up with this idea is because I think that FE2 is like the only actual obby game, not counting the original, or the fan games, of course, that capitalizes on the multiplayer aspect of an obby game. You have games like FE2 or Tower of Hell, which don't exactly have anything to do with, well, being a multiplayer. You just beat the towers and move on to the next tower, that kind of thing. FE2 works on teamwork. That's why I think a bigger emphasis should be on the teamwork side of things. If the game really cares about its teamwork aspect as much as I think it does. Because, trust me, playing solo for better XP gain is pretty boring, I'm not gonna lie. Having done that for years, I can tell you this right now. I take playing multiplayer for better XP gain any day of the week over soloing for it. Trust. Besides, most players don't even wanna buy private servers or use them to play solo anyway. They prefer playing in public servers more. And I think they should be able to level up a lot easier because of this. Because for a player who plays in a private server, you can get a rebirth like really quickly. For a player who plays only in public servers, you can see this dude, for example, level 74. He might have been playing the game for like a year, and he's still not a rebirth 1 player. Or someone who plays in a private server alone, they would get the same level within like a week or two. So you can kind of see my point here. Anyways, next. Idea number 17. Boombug's Game Pass allow the ability to play any in-game soundtrack regardless of map currently being played. In other words, like the Roblox library type thing, but instead of it being just random stuff others upload, it would be in-game soundtracks. Like, for example, you're playing Grave Cliffside and you don't want to listen to its OST. Why not let it play Fallen's OST instead? Or something. Or, I don't know, Soulstorm Horizon. Like, I think that should be an interesting idea. It would provide the Boombox Game Pass feature an actual thing to do. Because right now it like does nothing at all. You can only play like 15 second long sounds and that's it. Whereas you used to be able to play full songs back in the day when it first came out. So, you know, that's just an idea. Anyways. Next. This is a bug fix. Fixed numerous skin-related issues such as active volcanic mines having its helmet taken off when magmatic matter is equipped, Itree's shirt being moderated, and Bereza's pants being moderated. So let me show you what I mean. First let's equip the magmatic mines skin. I mean active volcanic mines, bro. I'm saying the wrong thing. Alright, you see, I have this helmet on, right? Now I'm gonna equip the magnetic bannock. And this is what happens. Your helmet suddenly gets taken off and put on your shoulder. This is not supposed to happen. It's not. Anyways, when you unequip the item, it goes back into normal. Oh no. Interesting detail about the skin, I guess. Alright, next we have Itree. Like, you can already see from just the picture alone. Her dress should be extending on her arms too. Instead, there's nothing on it. I mean, this doesn't look too bad for this skin, granted. It should look closer to what its counterpart skin looks like, this one. It should be something similar to this. At least it used to be, before the moderated part appeared. And we also got an ancient case of Bereza's pants missing. Granted, this skin had its pants missing for years at this point. It's never been resolved or adjusted or anything like that. Hell, at least make this like black so it actually fits with the aesthetic of the skin. It being pink does not help its case whatsoever. It looks goofy as hell. Anyways, enough dwelling on that. On to the next idea. Player profiles where you can view their stats. This is a detrimental feature for exploiter moderation. And well, I'm just curious to see what other players' stats look like compared to mine. Because there's currently no real way to actually see their stats other than to ask for a screenshot on Discord or something. Which, mind you, is already breaking Roblox's terms of service by leading people off platform, if you didn't know. So yeah, I just kinda wanna see other people's stats, basically. Mostly curiosity, but it'll help. It would overall help with exploiter moderation because it would reveal secrets they're hiding in their statistics menu, like longest streaks, survival rates, what maps they've beaten and how many, you know, all that kind of stuff, how many times they died. It would literally expose any exploiter on the spot, unless they deliberately chose to slow themselves down to a normal player's pace, at which point they might as well just play legit, because what's the point in cheating if you don't get an advantage anymore? You know? That kind of thing. Anyways, moving on. Playtime stat. I mean, I guess there's like Roblox extensions like it can track your playtime, but the problem with them is if they get discontinued, your playtime is gone. If you change your account, your playtime is gone too. Like, it's not gonna be a very fun experience, you know? So if the game inside itself tracked your playtime, that would be a lot better. Look at that, my friend with Rebirth 25 is here, and this dude. Anyway, next idea. Award map themed skins for beating maps over 10 times. Like, let's take example of this map right now. I don't know why the flood is red. It's kind of weird. Oh yeah, flood colors. I enabled them. I forgot. Whatever. Well, anyways, basically, if you beat this map 10 times, you would get its skin in the shop for free. Basically. Granted, I know they cost quite a lot of coins and gems, but I think they should be awarded in some different fashion than just being sold in the shop. Because it's kind of lame, to be honest. I don't know what's with the lack of innovation when it comes to like obtaining items. Why does it always have to be in one fashion, like the shop? Why? Why can't you obtain items in different ways than just the shop? I mean, beating a Crazy Plus map wouldn't be easy 10 times for a new player. But if they do beat the map, then award them the skin. Why not? Alright, out on the next idea. Remove bodies and replace them with a new accessory type. I mean, this one's kind of self-explanatory. Like, for example, most players don't use bodies, including me, because there's no point doing that. But I think players would appreciate if you could just put on hats or back accessories. Well, back accessories already exist as tanks anyway, so like, that's okay. Waist accessories or something, I don't know. As items you could wear. Like add belts, for example, which you could wear on your avatar or something. I don't know. It all comes under the tanks category somehow, but I don't know. Halos, for example, on your head of your character, like in Tower of Hell, for example. That could be cool addition. And you can earn these like Halo thingies by doing some daily challenges or stuff. Alright, the next two ideas are gonna be mashed together because they're identical in idea, basically. First is the idea 23, which is the option to show a hitbox. Your hitbox, which you can click buttons with, etc., etc. Or your entire blocky body hitbox, basically. This would benefit those players with like avatars that don't use the blocky style. It would be up to preference to use this feature, but I remember Roblox Assassin used to have this feature. It was really helpful to combat like those tiny avatar abusers when Roblox released Arthro bundles to the public. That's all sucked. Anyway, the other option is to remove other players' items for improved performance. So, for example, he's wearing a skin and a tank right now, so if you would remove both of them, the game wouldn't have to load them in anymore, meaning you'd be able to play the game with less lag because these items would be unloaded by default. So yeah, that's kind of the basic idea. I don't know if this is beneficial for anyone, but it's just an idea. Alright, next. Every few rounds, make the whole map selection during voting be just CM permanent maps. I think this would be really great for people who just want more variety without like making CM permanents appear every round during map voting. They'll appear once every couple rounds, like every 3 rounds or so. I don't know. I think it would be beneficial actually. You'd get more options to pick from, and you would get more badge opportunities, or overall just less repetitiveness when playing these main game maps. Besides, I noticed one pattern that if you've watched my 69 streak video, or in other words, titled the one where I threw a good streak away, I played the same CM permanent map like 4 times, and I don't like that. There's so many maps that could be played, and the game chose that one specific map 4 times in a row. Like, why? I don't understand. Like, why? This is why I came up with this idea in the first place. It gives more variety and it doesn't like force you to play just whatever actually comes up. Since you only got one CM permanent to pick from, and whatever it is what you get. That's the whole issue with that. That's why I say that this idea is much better. Right. Next one's gonna be controversial. Really controversial. Remove ×2 intensity boost in all maps access Game Pass in favor or replacement, like ×2 coins Game Pass or discounted boosting Game Pass. If no replacement Game Pass, then refund 10 to 20,000 of each currency. Again, I think these Game Passes definitely need a replacement because people who have them, like me for example, this is what we got, and we got nowhere to spend it on. Of course, I'm the only one who has nowhere to spend it on because I'm the only one who has everything. But I kind of see the problem here. The issue is most people spend their coins and gems on boosting and map events anyway, instead of the shop. So like, you might as well just remove these game passes. They serve like no purpose. I mean, ×2 coins Game Pass would definitely be much greater than a map vote in Game Pass, which both maps are free. Because you would be able to choose what you do with your coins. Whether map vote or buy shop items. Granted that some of ideas I previously already mentioned that already allow for earning more items as is, I think all maps access isn't that necessary anymore. Times intensity boost on the other hand, I personally think you spend too many gems on it. Like a discount to boosting is pretty much identical to having double boosts. So I feel like this replacement wouldn't harm them too much. Anyways, it's controversial because most people will disagree, most likely. But it has been a pain in the butt for the developers for a while now. The game passes are off sale anyway, so like only a handful of people have them. And this elitism is not really favorable for the game. Because I think if these game passes were replaced with their perks, they could be put back on sale, providing the game with more monetary gain and as well as useful perks for the players themselves. That could be useful. But it's your option to take this forward from me. Global messages when someone gets a rebirth. This this idea is like I previously mentioned I want the rebirth system to be removed and replaced with leveling. So basically, if that doesn't happen, then your rebirth would be globally announced in the chat for when you rebirth and what rebirth you reach. This could help like see how many people are hitting these rebirth milestones, etc., and make adjustments to the leveling system or something with it. You know, to make the game a little bit more beginner friendly, but also not make it like too easy for everyone. In case of rebirths being removed, this update could still be introduced, but instead of like every rebirth, you get an announcement in global chat once you reach the levels 50, 150, etc., etc. It just goes up by 50 every time. That kind of thing. They would be a lot more rare than rebirth announcements, though. Believe me. Anyway, next. When a server is about to be shut down, send a global message and reset everyone in round to save their data. I don't know if people would like this change or not, but I think it's kind of necessary because of how XP is rewarded after you only die. If you get disconnected mid a good streak, that is kind of painful, you know? Because all of that streak you put into time, effort you put into it, it's all lost. You don't get your XP, your currency, or your time back from it. And the game just shuts down and resets all your data. That's why I say that there should be an global message announcement that the game is shutting down for an update or something. Or just a restart, I don't know. And just like make it reset everyone in a round intentionally so that their data can actually save before they are kicked. Or if the server doesn't actually kick you out of the game and it just refreshes, then please still reset them, save their data, and only then throw them into a brand new server. Thank you. Anyway. Random events in the game, like the game auto boosting once for 5 gems worth, or map eventing for 5 gems worth. I think this one is a goofy idea. It would apply more in servers where people don't do map events at all. Just for a little bit of fun, I guess. Of course, the same cooldown principle would apply, like with boosting manually. And I'm not saying that these map event boosts thingies would be common. They happen like every 10 rounds, maybe. Maybe less often even. But the fact that they could happen is good enough, right? Right? Anyways. Fix the refresh button in the shop menu. By that I mean this one. Before this update that just came out, by just I mean like in January, to change your avatar from the site, for example, you were able to click this button to refresh it and you would immediately use your new avatar instead of having to reset your character intentionally for it. I think that's a very convenient thing to do. Also, the way it currently does things too is like let me equip some items here. Let's do this one, do this. Tank of swords. Well, anyways. You see I have these items on, right? Now I'm gonna press this button. And it took off all my items except for the skin for some reason. It was meant to take off the skin too, but it didn't for sample. I see my emote is defaulted, my tank is gone, and I think my aura is also disabled. Yeah. Yeah, you can see the aura equipped. Now I press this button and it's all gone. The purpose of this button is to refresh your character so it doesn't disappear, but reappears if it did disappear. Instead disappears, which is the opposite of what it should be doing. That's why this needs to be fixed. Now that I think about it, I wish that the shop also had like a small feature where it shows the current item you're wearing at the top. So you know what you're wearing right now and you can immediately unequip it if you don't want to use it anymore. That'd be nice. That's just like a bonus to this. So yeah. Alright, next. Players who've had VIP Game Pass get 1 gem and 100 XP for each risk complete. Players with VIP Game Pass only get the XP. This change is purely for players who just can't afford the Game Pass, but want to afford something nice in the shop, for example. Or boost, I don't know, whatever. It's to get them started, basically, and let them actually earn something more valuable without having to dump a lot of money onto a Game Pass they won't make full use of, probably. You get my point. The reason VP's Game Pass owners don't need the gems for risky missions is because they already get gems by the Game Pass itself. Albeit it's capped to 200 per day, but still, it's a lot more than whatever the free-to-play players would be earning anyway. It like play 50 maps per day and do like 20 of them like with a rescue mission, so they'd earn only like 20 gems in a day. That isn't a lot. It also would reward them for playing a bit longer, because they'll be earning more. Alright, next. AP Game Pass daily gem cap increased to 400 gems. 200 gems is just too little. Let's be realistic. With how many items in the game you have and how much ways to spend the gems on, like map events, boosting, expensive shop items, you know, all that stuff. It eats your gems like really fast. People have looked for methods to overlook this gems thing. Some people have methods they have. I don't. So, yeah. I just think this should be at least increased a little bit, if not fully removed. Because it will still depend on how much a player plays. Also, maybe make it harder to earn a single gem as well. Like, instead of giving like 1 gem every 100 XP, do 1 gem every 200 XP instead. Because some of the next change suggestions will increase XP gains, so kind of want to emphasize on that. So anyways, times 2 XP we can also multiply as currency earnings. Rescue mission gems would be multiplied too, assuming this change did exist. Yeah, on times 6p we can see we'd get 2 gems for rescuing something. Which is good for free-to-play players. They would be more enticed to actually log on the weekend to grind. Also multiplied gems earnings and coins earnings is... It's time saving, basically. At times 6p we can allows you to already get XP at 2 times the rate. So why not get times 2v coins and gems along with the XP? Because you already gained that XP needed for this doubled amount of gems and coins anyway. So like, why not, right? And if the game pass was capped at 400 gems, you'd only be able to get 400 gems per day. The grinding would just take you less time. That's basically all of it. Besides, coins are easily spent on a lot of things anyway, so getting more of them is never a bad thing. Alright, the next suggestion is pretty big, and it's gonna be kinda hard to explain. I split it into 2 parts. 34A. Okay, the first half of the suggestion, basically. Intensity system revamp, which lets you play through 5 crazy maps before reaching crazy plus while solo. For context, you get to play 2 easies, 2 normals, 2 hards, 3 insanes, 5 crazies, and then 1 crazy plus. Instead of the current 2 easies, 2 normals, 2 hards, 5 insanes, 10 crazies, actually 11 crazies sometimes. Actually, always 11 crazies for some reason due to a bug. And then you get to play 1 crazy plus. I mean, this is just meant to balance out the amount of crazy pluses you reach and can play. Because how rare crazy plus maps are and how hard they are to beat, this is really unfair, the way the current system is. Sure, crazy maps themselves don't really are hard. You can pick the easier ones if you prefer to get to crazy plus more easily, but still, I think the amount is daunting to do in a row, especially for an average player. The second half of this is emphasizing the idea that intensity system has removed completely. It's basically the same idea as the first half of the suggestion I mentioned, except it also applies in multiplayer, and instead of resetting the difficulty in normal mode, like the intensity reset, it goes down after hitting the peak intensity, basically. Or the highest difficulty, I guess. For context, you would play 2 easy maps, 2 normal maps, 2 hard maps, and 3 insane maps. And then, instead of going straight back to easy, you would go down to hard, then normal, then easy. Basically, more like connecting a bridge between the difficulties, so you wouldn't actually, like, I don't know, dance around from insane to easy overnight. I don't know, I feel like it would be a little more balanced if you got to play more easier maps for a while and then more bit difficult maps for a while. I think that would be absolutely fair. Hell, for normal servers, you could even make 3 easy maps, 3 normals, 3 hards, and then 3 insanes, and just loop it like that. Instead of having intensity reset. In pro servers, the same thing would apply, but it would be more like this. Hard difficulty will be the minimum. You have to beat 2 hard maps, 3 insanes, 3 crazy maps, and then you get... Okay, not 3 crazy maps, more like 5 crazy maps. And then you get to play 2 crazy pluses. 2 because why not? Let's do 2. I think it would be fair. After the 2 crazy pluses, you play the crazy maps, then insanes, then hards, etc. It just goes like that. The reason why we don't need to play as many hard maps as in normal modes because, well, most people came to pro servers to play insane and higher anyway, so like, they'll play plenty of hard maps in normal mode anyways. So that should be more than fine. Anyways, next idea. A practice hobby in the lobby slash secret room. It can work as a replacement for the tutorial map idea. Or it can work together with it. Well, it's self-explanatory really. You'd get a lobby obby, like for example behind this wall there will be a secret exit or something. Or not even secret, just a door with a light tunnel. You go past it, then you just get to do a short obstacle course, which features some of the game's mechanics. You know, that kind of thing. And you can do it at any time, at any point you want, when you're waiting for a new map to load, for example. I don't know, put a coin reward or something at the end of it for beating it while you're waiting. I saw back in the day some games like Assassin, as I mentioned earlier, with the hitbox thingy. Assassin used to have this lobby obby you could do for extra coins. Basically, while you're waiting, you've been eliminated from the match. You could just go to this lobby obby, beat it, and get a small coin reward for beating it. It would go on cooldown for like 10 to 15 minutes or something, or like 5 rounds. I don't remember exact cooldown period, but FE2 could use the same thing. You could earn some coins while you wait for the next round to load or something. Considering some rounds can last up to 3 minutes long, basically. It would just make the waiting period a little less draining, you know. Alright, idea 36. Friend bonus when playing in same server. I am skeptical of applying this to private servers too, because of alt abusing, but for public server play, I think this would be just fine. Because you're unlikely to fill it with alts anyway. You might as well just friend random players instead. And of course, the buff. You would get plus 5% XP for each friend. Maximum cap is 25%. So, in other words, to reach the maximum buff, you would only need 5 other people to be friends in your server. This is not easy to achieve in present day of FE2, unless you're involved in the community or have a lot of people friended. So I think this bonus would entice people to actually talk to each other, make new friends and other things. That genuinely just play the game together more often. I don't know. Could be useful. Alright, next. Game mode selection back on the lobby wall or return of teleport tunnels. Back a couple years ago, we used to have game mode selection right on this wall here. You could select the game mode and immediately go to it. Or even longer ago, we used to have 2 tunnels here. One led to original Flood Escape and the other one led to pro servers. Basically that kind of thing. I feel like that feature was pretty good. Its removal is kind of stupid. Now if the game modes are shoved into here, which is, I guess it saves space on the walls, etc. But like, it's plastered with posters anyway, so like, why not have it here again? Like, come on. Give it some polish to make it look cooler, but please just put it back here. Anyways. Next. Removal of map times page. This page serves no real purpose, and because the game is multiplayer oriented, the times are clearly inaccurate whatsoever. Besides, exploiter influence makes them impossible to beat. What I'm talking about is this. Like, you see your maps and your best times on these maps, for example. Some of these times are genuinely unbeatable, or some are literally just rigged to not be beatable in the first place, like active volcanic mines. It is highly unlikely you can get below 138, or Calamity Kingdom below 220, because the map is made to stop directly at that timing point anyway. Same with Cyberpunk District. The King Silo is gonna be almost similar as well. Very few maps actually like have the ability to go below the specific preset time. Unless they have shortcuts and no time doors, then sure. Personally, I think this feature is kind of useless. It just clogs up space for no reason. Granted, it does award one badge, but that badge can easily be just replaced with something else. Besides, it's a badge everyone gets really easily anyway, so I don't think anyone would care if it got removed in the first place. I wouldn't care, to be honest. Wouldn't matter to me whatsoever. Alright, daily login awards buff extension from times 2.5 to 4 times multiplier. Also extending the period needed to hit it 2 weeks or so. Right now, when you log into the game, you get this multiplier thing. Each day it increases by 0.2, so it takes roughly 8 days, I think, to reach the maximum multiplier. So if it was increased to times 4, it would be like 2 weeks total, I think. Probably. Maybe a little more. But yeah, you get my point. Basically, it would just increase these daily rewards by a little more. And that's about it, really. It would just keep players coming back. Besides, you still have to beat 10 mouse to increase the multiplier, so it's not like it's free labor, bro. You'd still have to work for it a little bit. Which is why I think that is a great idea. Oh hell. Next few suggestions are like there's like 4 suggestions left, but there are a lot of reading to say, at least. So without further ado, let's get into it. Suggestion number 40. Speedrun map event. The way this works is it adds shortcuts to maps that you're meant to use to beat the map. If you don't use them, you will likely die to being too slow. However, these shortcuts won't require you to pull off glitches or difficult raw uppy jumps, like hardcore head hitters, or really hard wraparounds or shit like that. It'd be just basic jumps. You can think of it as an alternate path in the map with gameplay that is one difficulty higher than intended to make it a little bit more interesting. This has one difficulty higher, doesn't really much increase in difficulty. Though I must say, this event would only apply to probably main game permanent maps, because implementing this on CM permanents would be really difficult unless you intentionally make map makers add alternate routes or shortcut paths for players to use. And so I don't know how hard it would be to actually make this happen, but I just thought this idea would be quite hilarious if it did exist. This idea came mainly because I remembered that speedrunning was pretty fun back in the day for most people. Not me particular, but I liked watching speedruns too, okay? I liked watching those shortcuts being pulled off and such. So I think this would be like the family-friendly version of speedrunning. Anyways, next, another controversial idea, but I think it's an upgrade to what they are planning with the leaderboard in the first place. Like, I think it's a little better than that one. It still has the same aspects. Let me just read it out. Okay. Weekly leaderboard competition. Emphasis on the weekly. It would last 1 week. Maybe 2 weeks at most. It would not last a full month like it used to, for very good reasons. Top 10 placement gets some sort of medal or trophy. Top 100 gets a participation item and a badge. To compete, you will need to have at least one rebirth. The rebirth requirement is for exploiters to not be able to as easily get into this. Well, unless they use auto farmers and private service, they can get that in a single day. But let's hope that Scrum gets patched someday. It shouldn't be too hard to achieve given how some of the previous suggestions make it easier to gain XP. However, in the case that rebirths were replaced with infinitely scaling levels, then level 100 plus would be mandatory for participation. Granted, reaching level 100 would remain basically the same as reaching rebirth 1, so it wouldn't be any that much different. Well, maybe a little harder, but you got my point. All usernames would be masked until the end of the competition, after which you will see your placement and your prizes. You will not know the names of your opponents, but you will be able to see their XP gained. You will only receive one prize for the top 10, so there is no reason for you to regrind the leaderboard over and over for multiple prizes. If leaderboard detects you have earned the prize already, you'll award it to someone below top 10 who hasn't got it yet. This is done so the players wouldn't think of hogging top 10 prizes and their rarity. Not that the rarity would be like very impressive considering the competition would be weekly anyway. So there would be a lot of players who would be having the chance to get the prize. I just thought the top 10 should get a prize different from everyone else because it's a competition. It's not supposed to just hand out prizes like candy, you know? You're meant to compete for it, meaning you have to work harder than the others to actually get something better. That's just the point of a leaderboard in the first place. Like the previous idea that developers have are top 5 or top 10% get the prize trophies. I mean, sure, but when you have like 1,000 players play the game every day, the top 5% is gonna be like over 50 people, if not more. Or if it's top 10 or top 25%, it's gonna be hundreds of people that get the prize, diminishing its value completely to the point basically everyone in the game runs around with the item. I mean, the whole idea of having a prize for a competition is for it to actually be worth something, you know? Like, enough rare to, like, be proud of achieving it, and being, like, not as difficult to get to the point where you need to sacrifice all your life away for earning it, like back in the day. That kind of thing. I think this idea isn't bad, considering it does still fulfill all of their initial idea requirements, like anonymity, better moderation ways, and other stuff. There will be like almost no toxicity because of how short the competition is anyway. Because there will be like no reason to even bother chewing someone out for competing when there's like 10 spots you can actually get on. Besides, it would restart every week, so if one week you fail miserably, you can just try again next week instead of having to wait an entire month. Plan your like entire month ahead of time if you will be able to compete properly, and so on and so forth. I think this competition would be really fair. Of course, it would be gaining XP, which would be limited to public servers, I should add. Private server XP gain would not be possible, to further prevent exploiting, of course. You know, makes sense, right? Given how that's already been a system in the past, I think this should be just more than enough. Besides, when a competition doesn't last like a month, you won't even need to grind like over 2 million XP to get top 10. I think like 500,000, maybe a little more than that, should be more than plenty for top 10. If the leaderboard is gonna end up really competitive. If not as competitive, then let's say like 300k may be enough for top 10. For an average player, it will be a challenge. That is definitely gonna be the thing, but I mean, it's not meant to be easy enough where everyone gets the prize, you know? It's supposed to be slightly difficult because, well, first of all, you gotta earn it, and you gotta try to earn it with everything you've got. If it was easy to earn, it wouldn't be even fun to do it in the first place. So, that's basically the end of that suggestion. Another one, 42. Unlocking new badges gives a small reward. High reward for a badge that's really difficult to obtain. So for example, you beat a crazy plus map, you get 20 gems. If you beat an easy map, you get 3 gems or like 10 coins or something. You know, that kind of reward. It's only a one-time reward though, so if you delete your badge to try and get it again, there will be a system in place that would know you already claimed that reward. Because that reward would have to be manually claimed through this badges menu here. And once this badge menu logs that you had achieved the badge before, it would not show that you no longer have the badge if you delete it on your profile. Meaning, if you claimed your prize, it's claimed forever. You cannot abuse it. Basically, yeah. And my final idea is, well, make a guide into a quest-giving NPC, which would tell you to do certain things for him in return for some sort of reward. Every handful of quests, it would reward you with an item from the shop which you don't own yet. I think this idea is pretty good. Or instead of guide, you could use Ghost Layer to be a quest-giving NPC instead. Since he kind of does nothing and his idea of help is outdated beyond measure. So, and that was the final suggestion, basically. Tell me in the comments what you think about them, if you agree with some of them, if you don't. I actually want to see a discussion go on about this. Because, trust me, the more discussion there is about said things, the more likely they are to happen. I don't know if this video will ever reach the CBG server, or if it will or will not, I don't know. But I've put a lot of thought into this, you know. I'm not just some guy that is sick and tired of a game to the point he would shit on every minuscule thing in the game. Even though I did show this side of me in the previous video a little bit. I mean, I can't help it, you know. It's just a natural reaction to, like, being ignored. It's not that I'm seeking attention or something like that. I just want my voice to be actually heard by someone. Someone who cares about the game. Someone who wants to improve it and move forward with it. I just don't want to mindlessly shit on a game and see nothing change because of it. I'm being honest here, but this game, it changed my life. I'm forever grateful to it. For all the bad and good or stupid things I did, I still love this game. I don't hate the community. I just don't fit in with it. That's what I can say. And in the community, people themselves know that I don't really fit in with the rest of them. Because, first of all, I'm not really into map making, music creation. My taste of music is completely different from everyone else's. They like video game soundtrack music mostly. I like funk and stuff, like rock, you know. The list goes on, you know. I just didn't really fit in the server much. Though, I still gotta say that poor moderators, man. They have to deal with these people every day, constantly bending the rules. It's kinda disappointing. Fortunately, I got the short end of a stick that time, and, well, I'm banned from it now. There are so many good things I lost access to from being kicked from the server. But it's okay. I've played this game far enough to the point where I can just use alternative methods to get something going for me. But yeah, I also don't want to be negative all the time. In fact, I want to be positive. I want to praise the developers for doing a good job. I really do. Sometimes they just don't leave me a choice. There's only so much you can praise until something just goes so wrong you can't even force yourself to do it anymore. I'm not a bootlicker, okay? I'll just state this right now. If I see something like I genuinely don't like, I will criticize it. Sometimes it may not be very constructive, I admit, because emotions don't really favor good criticism. But I try my best, okay? I try my best being constructive when I do. And I'm oftentimes just ignored. So, yeah. Also, I can't even contact the game developers about my Rebirth 30 document. So please, if someone can, please share it with them. I'll even link it in the description. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Peace.